Well, very good evening. It's Sunday, the 5th of April, and it's about 7:20 recording this. Some cheesy corporate background music for you as we open this first recording. I don't call it a podcast. I don't think it's going to be interesting enough for a podcast. More like my musings, my thoughts, insights, and the idea is hopefully there'll be something to laugh at. Hopefully there'll be something to chew on. If nothing else, you'll have wasted a few minutes of your life. Every podcast needs a bit of cheesy music to start with, but that's quite enough of that. So, anyway, thanks for listening. If you are listening, if you're tuning in, not that you might, this is a video, of course, and I don't know where I'm going to release it, so you might be just watching it. There's a chance you could be listening it. And you might be asking yourself, well, why on earth am I watching Tim speak into a microphone on a camera? And I'm asking myself the same reason, really. Why on earth am I doing this? I suppose I'm just thinking, I've always thought about recording since I was a little kid. When I was a child, I used to do DJing. I've always enjoyed kind of, you remember the old sort of tape decks where you used to sort of do mixtapes? I used to love that. And I thought, why not now? We've got all this time during this coronavirus crisis. I've got a bit of kit here. I've got a fancy looking microphone. It's not that fancy. And so that's why I'm here. And I'm hoping to share in some fun. There might be a bit of faith, Christian faith stuff along the way. And I'm hoping in the fullness of time that I'll be able to have some guests on via video link to speak with them and ask them about what they're doing to survive, how they're using their time, among other things. So if you're interested, do get in touch with me. If you're watching this thinking, I can't let Tim do this to us anymore, then perhaps you'll have to come and have a try, come and have a rescue, and we'll see if you're any better. So it's really interesting. I mean, I sit this where I am now. I'm in our spare bedroom, and I look out down the road down there, and I can see Parsons tempting me at the end of the road. And we've been told stay at home unless you're going out for exercise, unless you need medical care, or you need to go to work, and your work cannot be done from home. And it's very interesting because I sit here and I see the same gentleman going out multiple times in a day, and I think to myself, maybe we should set up like a neighbourhood watch again. You remember the neighbourhood watch? I think when we were growing up, my dad was the chair of the neighbourhood watch in Bradford Navan, and I thought, that guy, he's just out, and he pushes a buggy, and I'm not sure if he's got a child in there. And he always looks a bit shifty, so I am wondering whether there's some slightly illegal behaviour going on. Maybe he's using the buggy to sort of shift drugs, maybe face masks or hazmat suits. Who knows? I don't want to jump to conclusions. There may well just be a child in the buggy, and pushing the buggy is the only way the child goes to sleep. But I always jump to the worst possible conclusion. So he's definitely a drug dealer in my mind now. And it's a bit bizarre. We can go out for exercise once a day, which I think is very generous. I can't say that before the coronavirus crisis, I exercised much. And I've tried to continue some sort of stability in my life. And so I have tried to not do more exercise than I would normally. Having said that, my wife has convinced me to go out for a walk once or twice. And bearing in mind my newly formed dad bod, and the fact that carrying Isaac now, he's probably 16, 17 pounds, so he's quite a weighty child now. It's quite a workout, going around the block with that strapped to you, that being my lovely son. I get my exercise, and then I get home and enjoy my food as well. Sorry, I'm just looking down at my notes. I'm a bit worried, as I think many men are, because basically I'm reaching a point, as you can tell, I'm nearly there, where I am going to require a haircut, and the barbers are closed. And I think I'm going to be one of these men that has to turn to their spouses or their partners to help them cut their hair at this time. And I've got some friends that have cut their hair, and it's gone quite well. My wife doesn't fill me with lots of confidence. She doesn't seem that confident with the clippers. And so next time I speak to you, I could look slightly different. And so just a heads up, a warning that next time you're watching this or listening to this, not that listening will make much of a difference, admittedly. I suppose you might just hear me moving less through the air. But for those that are watching, I do apologise. I do apologise in advance. I think it's really interesting, the technology has come into its own during this time of social distancing, and we're all of a sudden really grateful for platforms like Zoom, Google Hangouts, Skype, and I just think I think it's great, but I'm also a bit wary that we have to be careful not to become overstimulated. And I know that's maybe an odd thing to say, but for those of you that have got children, you'll be fully aware of what I mean by the phrase overtired. Sometimes when my son becomes overtired, he'll be absolutely exhausted. It'll be well past his bedtime or nap time, and you put him into bed and he's just wide-eyed, staring into space, and just cannot get to sleep because he's completely overtired and overstimulated. That's bad parenting 101, and I do it all the time. So I'm with you in that. But I think it's the same for us adults. I do think it's the same. We have to be careful that, if we want a good night's sleep, we have to be careful we don't get to bed and we've just spent all our time staring at these screens, taking in this information, this constant flow on social media, on the news, of information. And the issue with social media, that sort of aimless scrolling through social media that we do, it's proven to release endorphins in our body, which makes us feel great, which is why it's actually addictive to scroll through social media. So check yourself. When I scroll through my Facebook page, I'm very passive to start with, so it's not like I'm actually engaging with people, and I don't really need to see the same old people posting pictures of the same old sourdough loaf that they've baked for the last sort of 5 days in a row, or a bowl of porridge with chopped banana on top, or blueberries, or the same old stuff, pictures of themselves out on a bike. And I've joined Instagram as well. And I accidentally posted something the other day. I pressed the wrong button, and before I knew it was posted. And it's the same on there. So I do think it has its place, but I'd watch out for that. Interestingly, on Zoom, so on Mondays I meet with my family on Zoom around 8 o'clock once the kids are in bed, and we use a gaming platform called Steam, and we run Jackbox games, which is like social gaming through Zoom, and that's been working really well. When the kids are in bed, to just have a bit of sort of grown-up conversation and fun. And yeah, we're hoping to carry that on just as a way of trying to keep the family in touch, which has been really nice. So yeah, I don't really have a lot to say today. These are my musings, these are my thoughts. But what I would love is to be chatting with you, with guests, and asking, what are you doing to kind of survive coronavirus, not in terms of health necessarily, but just in terms of the distancing that we have from one another, the extra time we have. Have you got any good suggestions or resources? And so yeah, that's why we're here. That's why I'm here. That's the big we. It's just me at the moment, sat in a room, speaking into a microphone, trying to look at a camera and ignore the picture of myself on the screen over there. So I hope you've enjoyed my musings, and like I say, next time I'm hoping I'll be here with someone else, and it'll be far more interesting indeed. So until next time, I've been Tim Brown, and you've been a great audience. The Tim Brown Podcast, helping you bridge the gap in social distancing for the socially inept Good night.